and welcome to my Anne of Green Gables / Anne with an E themed reading vlog. If you have not read Anne of Green Gables or watched the Netflix series Anne with an E, I so highly recommend both. You will feel so uplifted and so happy after spending the day with Anne. Also, I think both the book and the Netflix series are perfect for fall. Anne shares our deep love for October and all things cozy, especially October during fall if you live in the Northern Hemisphere. So my friends, I thought we should celebrate the start of October and all things cozy in the style of Princess Cordelia, otherwise known as Anne with an E. The thing I most admire about Anne is her ability to be 100% herself no matter who she's around. She is entirely, unapologetically herself. And as such, she is so full of life. Through Anne's eyes, life is most certainly a grand adventure, especially with a touch of imagination. I absolutely adore the world of Anne, and to be like her would be an exceptional feat. So today we are all Anne of Green Gables, letting our imaginations roam free with our nose in a book and appreciating nature all the while. Before I dive into the books, I just want to say that this themed reading vlog was very much inspired by Ciara and Carolyn Marie Reads. I'll link both their channels down below, but they did a Rory Gilmore / Gilmore Girls themed readathon and I absolutely loved it. Thank you, Ciara. Thank you, Carolyn. I love your videos. Okay, so we are kicking today's reading vlog off with none other than Jane Eyre by Charlotte Bronte. I feel it important to mention that I'm not reading Anne of Green Gables in this video. I have read that book so many times and loved it more with each read, but today's video is inspired by Anne of Green Gables and the Netflix series. So I've done my best to choose books that I think Anne would love. And we know for a fact she loves Jane Eyre. This is also the perfect cozy fall October read. I actually studied the Bronte sisters in my senior seminar at my university, and this was definitely my favorite book that we read in that class. It's very, very gothic, and the character development is really well done. I'm someone who really enjoys stories that are kind of led by the development of a character rather than plot. Of course, I'm a big fan of well-designed plot, but I really, really enjoy novels that get me really close to the protagonist, and this is definitely one of those. It has been about 4 years since I read this book, so it'll still be exciting and new-ish. I read the first 2 chapters outside early this morning, and I enjoy it so much more through Anne's eyes, actually. Like, I can totally see how this was a comfort to her during the darkest stages of her life when she lived in the orphanage and was kind of tossed from family to family. It's really, really cool to read this from that more relatable perspective, or just try and put myself in the mindset of a young girl who can relate to young Jane. Next up, I'll be reading The Turn of the Screw by Henry James. So one of my favorite parts of Anne of Green Gables is when Anne lets her imagination kind of get the better of her, and she imagines that the woods between her house and Diana's are haunted. She freaks herself out so much that she can't go into them and also just can't sleep at night. It drives Marilla crazy. And in the Netflix series, Anne writes a really spooky story in their tree fort, and all the girls are freaked out. And I love how imposing and dark they made the forest seem during that scene. And so I wanted to get spooky with a scary story. It is the ever-satisfying tale of a beautiful young woman / governess being sent to care for children in a very seemingly haunted house. And the governess becomes obsessed with the belief that the house is haunted and there are evil spirits stalking the children. Pretty scary. We'll see. And then last on my list is Nature by Ralph Waldo Emerson. I absolutely love Anne's relationship with nature, and in the Netflix series we get to see her just play and be free in nature, and it's really inspiring. It always makes me want to go outside and look up and all around. Emerson's Nature is kind of a philosophical read. He promotes self-discovery and introspection through observing and being in nature. Many truths and a great understanding of human nature can actually be found by observing our natural world. I think Anne would have delighted in reading his work. So my friends, go ahead and grab your favorite cozy blanket, make yourself a hot cup of tea or coffee, and let's get to it. Alright, so it is just after 12 and I have officially finished volume 1 of Jane Eyre, which puts me at page 150, I think it is. Oh goodness, I'm enjoying it so much. It is very wintry and dark, not quite fall, but I just love the gothic elements that run throughout. So we followed Jane from a young girl to now a young woman, and she's gone from this passionate, fiery outcast to now a more respected, intellectual, humble adult. But she's still very independent, and I love that about her. I really, really love in the Bronte novels, a lot of the main female protagonists are very independent, and it's the same with Jane Austen and her novels, and I just love that early feminism. And I can also see where Anne would be inspired by it too. There are so many similarities between Anne and Jane, especially in the way that they just have these outbursts at people who wrong them, which are always well-deserved, I might add, but still a little bit overwhelming. That being said, there is a satisfying amount of karma already in this first volume. So we've kind of come full circle from beginning to end, and the Reeds have gotten their bad karma, and Jane has gotten her good karma. And it seems like things are kind of looking up for Jane, but there's still that kind of creepy supernatural element lurking in the background. We've also been introduced to the brooding, moody, mysterious Mr. Rochester, which is such a gothic trope, but a good one nonetheless. So yeah, overall, I'm really enjoying it, but I'm getting a bit sleepy and it's almost lunchtime. It's about a little after 12, so it is lunchtime, but I want to go take a quick walk before it starts raining again because the sun is out right now. And then I'm going to go ahead and have lunch, and I'm going to put on an Anne with an E episode while I eat. So let's get to it, friends. Where'd the sun go? Oh no! how that happened, but it is now 7:30 and I have finished Jane Eyre. It took me such a long time. It took me 12 hours, minus probably an hour for the time I spent walking with Rue and lunch. I really enjoyed it. I have mixed feelings about the ending, but I enjoyed it nonetheless, and I'm exhausted, but it's perfect timing because Landon is home and he's just made us dinner. So I'm gonna go ahead and have some dinner and then get back to it.
Let's do it!
Woohoo! I want to show them what you made.
Oh yeah.
It's this massive salad filled with all the veggies, sauteed and fresh, and then also some soy riso.
Who brought me the ketchup?
That's in the other video.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's really adorable. I'm so sorry for all of the yawning that I'm doing in this video. I have just finished Ralph Waldo Emerson's Nature, which is actually an essay, but it comes to about 30 or 40 pages, and it's quite dense. And like I said before, very philosophical, very abstract. He uses a ton of analogies and a lot of imagery. It's a very poetic style, which is very beautiful, but can also be extremely difficult to follow, especially when you've spent your entire day reading Jane Eyre. So although Jane Eyre was a wonderful experience, it has me feeling so drained. So this did take me a lot longer than it would have normally, but it is so beautiful, and Anne would have definitely loved it. You know that wonderful feeling when you finally read a classic or a really well-known piece of literature or poetry and suddenly so many references make sense to you? You know, you can quite clearly see that the piece that you just read was a big inspiration for some of your favorite authors and artists, or that quote you see everywhere, it finally makes sense and you read it from its natural source. Oh, that's such a satisfying feeling. That happened a ton with Nature, and I can definitely see that a lot of my favorite artists and writers were inspired by Emerson. I mean, so many people are, but I see some very clear parallels between Mary Oliver and Emerson. So if you hear a lot of noise in the background, that's just Landon doing his thing.
Hi guys.
So as I... So as I said before, this is an incredibly abstract essay, and I really want to summarize it for you, but that would be very difficult. One of the main points that stuck out to me is the idea that it is up to us how we perceive our reality. So we essentially create our reality through our perception, and the use of imagination is incredibly effective in doing this, which I just thought Anne would absolutely love. It is up to us how we perceive our lives, and Emerson believes that we are all unified, and that in going out to nature you can reconnect with your purpose and just find a stronger sense of self. It was really beautiful and definitely something that I want to revisit when my brain isn't so tired. So it's currently around 9:45. I do still want to try The Turn of the Screw. I think it's about 120 pages, which isn't bad. I might try and see if there's an audiobook to help me along. But I'm gonna go ahead and make myself some tea, grab some chocolate, and finish up this reading vlog. Let's get to it, friends.